Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of news to share about Donald Trump's cases and trials. So, first, you may have heard, maybe not, there's a federal appeals court that was reviewing Donald Trump's claim of total immunity. They rejected that argument. They said that he can be prosecuted. And in their decision, the judges wrote, quote, "For the purpose of this criminal case, former President Trump has become Citizen Trump with all of the defenses of any other criminal defendant. But any executive immunity that may have protected him while he served as president no longer protects him against this prosecution." They also said, quote, "Former President Trump lacked any lawful discretionary authority to defy federal criminal law, and he is answerable in court for his conduct." And quote, "It would be a striking paradox if the president, who alone is vested with the constitutional duty to take care that laws be faithfully executed, were the sole officer capable of defying those laws with impunity." So the justices also slapped down Trump's argument that his prosecution would amount to a violation of double jeopardy rights because, quote, "Impeachment is not a criminal process and cannot result in criminal punishment." That one was so absurd of an argument. If I was a judge, I would have just responded with laughing emojis. That's the kind of judge I'd be. So anyway, this is all related to his DC coup case. The trial was supposed to start next month in March. And the appeals panel decision was unanimous. And so now Trump will undoubtedly take this matter to the Supreme Court. It's likely to be kicked to the curb. I doubt that they're even going to take the case. My guess is they're just going to let the lower court's ruling stand. And here's one smart thing that this appeals panel did, or a couple of things. Because they know that Trump likes to drag things out and delay cases, they said the case can continue to move forward if Trump appeals this decision to the full appeals court instead of just going to the Supreme Court. So normally the way this works is there's a single appeals judge or an appeals panel, and it's usually 3 judges. They hear arguments and then they issue a ruling. If the person or the entity asking for the appeal is unhappy with that decision, they can then ask the full appeals court to hear the case. So it's what's known as en banc. That obviously delays everything again, right? So this appeals panel said if Trump wants to appeal their decision to the Supreme Court, that's fine. The case can remain on hold until SCOTUS makes their ruling. However, if Trump chooses to go to the full appeals court first, then the case will resume. They said the discovery, pretrial hearings, everything can just continue. The appeals panel also said in their ruling, Trump has to appeal by Monday or the trial just resumes. He can't drag this out for months like he normally does, wait for months and then he files at the last minute. So they've removed his options for trying to stall this trial. So now it's up to the Supreme Court. They could stall it out once he files with them. But here's the thing. It takes 4 Supreme Court justices to agree to take the case. So they, like I said, I doubt they'll even take it at all. But if they did, they have to have at least 4 justices that say, yes, I want to look at this. I want to hear arguments. I want to be involved in the ruling. It also takes 5 Supreme Court justices to agree to put this case on hold again, to keep this whole thing in limbo. So even if the Supreme Court says, yes, we'll take the case and we'll issue a ruling down the road, it doesn't necessarily mean that the trial is going to be on hold until they hear the argument. That is up to them. Now it could, but it's less likely to happen because, again, you would need 5 justices to agree upon that. Next is news that overlaps with 2 of Trump's New York cases. So I mentioned last week, Judge Engoron hadn't issued his judgment in Trump's New York fraud trial because former Trump CFO, Trump Organization CFO, Alan Weisselberg, was in talks for a plea deal. That was at least part of the reason for the delay. But it was just reported that Weisselberg is discussing a potential plea deal with a different court. He is discussing a plea deal with Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. So Bragg, you might remember, he is the one who prosecuted Weisselberg for tax fraud. He is the one who sent him to prison. So Judge Engeron, who's handling the fraud case, is now demanding an explanation. He wants to determine if Weisselberg maybe lied in his court during the fraud trial, because a lot of the information overlapped. A lot of the stuff about valuations and, Trump financial statements and so forth. So Engeron just issued a request for information, and he wrote, quote, "As the presiding magistrate, the trier of fact, and the judge of credibility, I of course want to know whether Mr. Weisselberg is now changing his tune and whether he is admitting he lied under oath in my courtroom at this trial." And Judge Engeron warned, if Weisselberg did in fact lie about something during the fraud trial, the judge could use that to discredit and throw out all of Weisselberg's testimony that was favorable to the Trump organization. So he gave Trump's attorneys until 5 p.m. today, which, as of my recording has already passed. So I am recording, so I don't know what they said, if anything at all, but I will definitely let you all know when I hear more. Next up is news about the classified documents case in Florida. Last week, it was reported that Trump suspiciously ordered his staff to change the lock on a door in Mar-a-Lago. This happened on June 2nd of 2022. This was as his attorney, Evan Corcoran, was on the premises. He was searching for classified documents at the property because they were trying to comply with the subpoena. So per ABC News, quote, "Smith's team learned that while Corcoran was still in the storage room, Trump asked a longtime Mar-a-Lago employee to change the lock on the closet," sources said. "For years, the lock on the closet was managed by the Secret Service. But on June 2nd, 2022, Trump had it changed and wanted the key," the sources said. One former maintenance worker described Trump's request as unusual, according to the sources. And apparently, when the FBI searched the property later that summer, remember it was August when they went in with their subpoenas and they searched the whole place, that door was still locked and they weren't allowed access to that space. So we all know the National Archives has maintained that there are items that are still missing. So that could be where they've been, or where they were, I should say, because unfortunately, by this point, anything that was there is long gone. I also have to share this almost unbelievable information with you in related news. The Above the Law news outlet is reporting that the attorney for Trump's co-defendant, Carlos de Oliveira, does not have a computer.
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot. It's serious.
I am not kidding. He told the court he couldn't review the surveillance video evidence that the special prosecutor sent him because he only has a tablet. The attorney said he doesn't have a laptop, doesn't have a desktop computer, has no way of viewing this stuff. So the government had to loan him a laptop. This is insane. What attorney doesn't have a computer in his office? I could have sworn that the primary defendant, Donald Trump, is a billionaire. You're telling me he couldn't purchase a laptop for de Oliveira's attorney? Here's an idea. Might sound crazy, but I don't know, maybe find a reputable, legitimate attorney who owns a computer. Crazy idea, I know. Oh my God. This is what happens when you know you're guilty, when everyone around you knows you're guilty, when everybody knows that Donald Trump stiffs them on their legal fees. You can't get good help. You can't find a legitimate attorney. So this is where we're at. Oh my God. Anyway, I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like this video, share it, become a subscriber if you have not, become a donor if you possibly can, or leave a tip or a super thanks. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.